So my name is Kenny Matthews. I'm 39 years old, and I'm in recovery from substance use disorder, mental health issues, as well as criminal behaviors. I have 5 years, 7 months, and 2 days today in recovery, specifically opioid use. Um, I was one of those ones where doctors prescribed a bunch of pain pills to, and that led to my substance use. But I had already had kind of addictive personality. Either I went all the way with something or I didn't do anything at all. And so it led to three different incarcerations in my life. Two of the most recent in West Virginia, where I now live. And I did 3 years, 3 months in Illinois in the Department of Corrections from 18 to a little bit past my 21st birthday. And then I did 8 years, 6 months here in West Virginia in the Department of Corrections in two different times, one for 5 years and 3 months, the other one for 3 years and 3 months. Um, Substance use has really, I lost a lot. Had to start over several times in my life. Uh, some points I felt like I wanted to die. That I didn't want to go on. That was a burden to my family. That I was a drain on everybody around me and myself. Um, and it wasn't until living here in West Virginia and getting released from prison this last time that I found a community. I'd already been working on my recovery by myself and picking up anything that I possibly could, whether it's 12-step material, harm reduction material, faith-based material, and started that process. But I always was missing that connection with people and missing having a support system. And that's what I found in West Virginia and doing my recovery. And I was released from prison April 8th, 2020, mid COVID. And where people were isolated and some people's substance use got worse, mine actually got a little bit stronger in my recovery because of the fact that coming from a prison environment, you're used to isolation. You're used to not being around a bunch of people or being around only the same group of people. And so the separation didn't bother me, but it allowed me to meet people strategically that ended up having a huge influence on my growth and recovery to the point where now I do a lot of advocacy work. I had a letter that I wrote to one of the delegates here in West Virginia, read on the House floor in 2021 during the legislative session. I speak at recovery events, such as here at Healing Appalachia. I had an opportunity to speak yesterday, which was pretty amazing. It's the largest crowd I've ever spoken in front of in my life. But the reason why I speak so much is because so many times, you get ingrained with that thought that you can't do it, that you're not worth the effort, or nobody cares. And there's a lot of people that do care. There's a huge recovery community that cares about each other and cares about what happens to people, and whether they're at their worst or at their best is going to try to pull them up and help them out. And I've always, missed that. And being able to have that now is like I want to give that so much to other people. I work in recovery a lot of times and do peer recovery work and recovery coaching and just overall talking to people. Former clients of mine I still talk to like on a weekly basis, checking up on them, making sure that they're okay. And it's a way for me to also stay focused and grounded in my own recovery because it helps me remember when I was detoxing on my bathroom floor and all that stuff that I put myself through, that I don't want to go back, and I don't want to have to, you know, revert to that feeling again, feeling alone and feeling like my life isn't worth anything. That's something that I've really found. I found a purpose, and I found something that I feel I'm pretty good at, and it helps a lot with, you know, mental health issues. It helps a lot with just my own substance use, to know that I have a purpose and that I'm being used and fulfilling that purpose.
We talked a lot today and yesterday about stigma that comes with being an addict.
Yeah.
Touch on that a little bit.
There's a lot of stigma. All right. Even how people say, I'm clean, as opposed to what? Like, you're sober, you're in recovery, you're not dirty. Like, we don't, with substance use, it's a disease, right? It's been diagnosed by medical field as a disease in the DSM-5. So why do we look at it like it's a character defect with a lot of people? Why do we look at it like there's something wrong with the individual? We don't look at that with any other disease classified by the medical community. We don't say somebody that's diabetic, like, oh, you have diabetes, but you're the problem. I think, no, you have a medical condition that needs treated, and we're going to help you. Same thing with substance use. And it's a medical condition or a mental health condition that can be treated, needs to be treated, and should be. So we need to get rid of the clean, dirty, even the addict. That gives a negative connotation to it. You have a substance use disorder. You have something that finding the right pathway can be treated, and you can be in recovery from it.
You sort of alluded to this with the answer there, but looking for just kind of your initial gut feeling and a short answer of what's the one thing you think people should know about addiction?
It affects everybody. Plain and simple. Regardless if the person is in active use or not, they have family members, friends, the community, so the state, the country. It touches everybody. Whether or not people want to admit it, everybody has a connection to either somebody, some story, some family member, friend, relative, friend of a friend that has been affected by substance use, from the great-grandmother that's raising her great-grandkids because the parents were in active addiction, or the grandchild is in active use. Like, it affects everybody. So we need to look at it from a community aspect, not isolating the individual.
Tell me a little bit about being here at Healing Appalachia.
It's one of the most amazing things that I've had the privilege of being a part of. I've been helping with the VIP tent, it is verified, and we're passing out these one boxes, right, where it's a purple box where you can carry life-saving naloxone in those boxes, all right? And
Explain what that is.
okay, so naloxone is an opioid antagonist. So if someone is overdosing from an opioid, it brings them back from that and puts them pretty much in instant withdrawal mode. They don't get any of the effects of the opioid, and they don't die. So the one box is a mechanism so that the naloxone or the Narcan can be carried wherever somebody may be and used. And it also has an added component that there's a video training module in there that if an emergency arises and people get, scared or nervous, it will walk them through step by step. And the cool thing about it was developed by a person in recovery, and it's built by people in recovery here in West Virginia. So the recovery community is helping distribute life-saving, medicine and mechanism to hold that to anyone.